Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom to the Torah tribes, Yasha, giving the course all honor, glory, and praise unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Mahashiach Yahushua. This is your brother Yasha coming back to y'all with yet another video through the Spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Mahashiach Yahushua. All right, shalom, shalom. All right, I'm gonna get straight into this. As you can see, this is an in-depth breakdown of how cows are clean according to the scriptures. I may go into the laws basically, listed in Leviticus 11. Also, I might go into Deuteronomy chapter 14 as the Spirit will. You know, just basically, going into the dietary laws, all right, because, we have to be studying these laws because that's how you're going to get your salvation, all right? Through what? Keeping the commandments, right, and having faith in Yahweh. That's what the saints are doing, right? Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 12. It says, "Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahweh." So they keep the commandments and they have the faith of Yahweh. But again, how are you going to keep the commandments if you don't know any of the commandments, right? How are you going to keep the commandments if you don't know them, right? So you have to be studying these commandments, right? Let's go to the book of John, chapter 5 and verse 29, right? This is the book of John, chapter 5. I believe I'm on 39, all right? John, chapter 5 and verse, right, 39. It says, "Search the scriptures, for in them ye think ye have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me." So the Lord Yahweh said to search the scriptures, all right? So you got to search the scriptures because these are the words of the Most High. And in these words, in his words is found who? Yahweh. Right? Let's go to the book of Psalm chapter 40. Right? Psalm chapter 40 and verse 7. And it reads, "Then said I, lo, I come, in the volume of the book, it is written in me." All right? So in the volume of the book, in the whole book, right? You can't just be reading Psalms all day. Sometimes you have to get into the laws. All right? Sometimes you got to get into the laws. Right? Where the majority, right, of the laws and commandments are found, right, which are what? The first 5 books of Moses, right, called the Torah, right? Torah means what? Law, instruction, all right? But without further ado, let's get into it. So this will be a break. I'm going to go into the cows, right? The cows and also other ruminating animals, right? Now you might ask yourself what that is. Well, let me read this. This is Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 1. "And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth." So there are certain type of beasts that you can and cannot eat that are upon the earth. You can't eat everything, right? Verse 3, "Whatsoever parteth the hoof and is cloven footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat." So whatever parts the hoof is cloven footed and chews the cud, that's what you can eat among the beasts that are upon the earth. Now, this doesn't go for every single thing that you can or cannot eat. For example, a chicken doesn't have hooves. They don't have hooves, so they're a different type of animal. But this is just going into basically, kind of like mammals like, cows, uh, etc. Just beasts, right? Certain type of beasts, but not all types, right? Because like I mentioned, you can eat a quail, you can eat a chicken. These things are lawful, but they don't have hooves necessarily, right? So I want to focus on chew of the cud. What does it mean to chew the cud, right? Chewing the cud means that you ruminate, right? That animal ruminates, right? So I'm gonna share my screen. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. All right, Salaki. All right, Salaki. All right. So I'm gonna share my screen, and so as you can see on your screen right here, this is a list of some ruminating animals or ruminants, right? Now, a ruminant is what? They're herbivorous animals, mammals, right? Of the suborder Ruminania, right? That are able to acquire nutrients from plant-based food by fermenting it in a specialized stomach prior to digestion, principally through microbial actions. So, and these are mammals. These are mammals that are herbivores, meaning that they only eat uh, vegetables, basically, right? Now, you might know some of these animals, like what? Cattle, right? Those are cows, sheep, goats, buffalo, deer, elk, giraffes, and camels. Now, everything on here, right? The buffalo, the deer, the elk, giraffes, sheep, and cattle, all of that is clean. We can eat that because they meet those three requirements, right? In Leviticus 11:3, they part the hoof, they're cloven-footed. When you look at their hooves, right? There's a line between it, right? That means it parts the hoof and it's cloven-footed, right? Cloven-footed meaning two basically separate hoofs, right? They're not joined together like the camel. If you watched my previous video, when you look at a camel's hoof in verse 4, right? Let's read it real quick. Leviticus 11:4. It says, "Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof as the camel." So you can't eat the camel, right? Because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. So because the camel, they're a ruminating animal, right? You can see it right here. They're listed among the ruminating animals, right? But the thing is, they do not have the parted hoof, all right? But that's all right. That's a different video, all right? I'm focusing on the ruminating animals that we can eat. Now I'm gonna focus really on cow, all right? I'm gonna focus on cow. So ruminating animals, traditional and ruminating animals, they have 4 stomachs, all right? Let's keep reading. These animals all have a digestive system that is uniquely different from our own, because our digestive system, right? Let's look up the digestive system of a human, right? So our digestive system, you may have learned this in high school, whatever, you go to college, whatever, or maybe just on your own. We have the esophagus, right? Or AKA, kind of like our throat. We have the liver and the gallbladder and the pancreas, right? Which secretes certain hormones and stuff like that. You have the stomach. We have the large intestine and the small intestine, stuff like that. We only have one stomach, right? We only have one stomach. But ruminating animals, not all, but most of them, right? They have 4 stomachs instead of one. They have 4 compartments of their stomach. We only have one compartment. You see that? We swallow the food and it goes down the esophagus and then goes straight into the stomach, right? So that's what we have, but it's different for a cow, all right? These animals all have a digestive system that is uniquely different from our own. Instead of one compartment to the stomach, they have 4. Of the 4 compartments, the rumen is the largest section and the main digestive center. So I'm going to go into that. All right, I'm going to go into that through the Spirit. So let me pull up a picture of the cow's digestive system. All right, of the cow's digestive system. So I'm going to look for a good picture. All right, we can use this. Right. Hold on. I think I had a picture pulled up here. Okay, yeah, this is the one I want right here. Right. Gone. So wait for this to load up. So as you can see right here, it's the digestive system or a diagram of the cow, right? of the cow. So it's kind of blurry. So let me see. Right, okay, I loaded it up. All right, Salakia. All right, so you got the rumen. All right, so you got 4 compartments: the rumen, right, the reticulum, the omasum, and the obomasum, right? Obomasum, right? Obomasum. So those are the 4 compartments of their stomach. Now, when the cow, because cows predominantly eat grass, right? They're so-called herbivores, so they eat grass. So when they're eating the grass, when they swallow, it goes through the rumen first. This is the largest compartment of their four of their stomach, right? Of the 4-part stomach. It first goes into the rumen, but as you can see from these arrows, it doesn't just stay there. Like for us, when we eat something, it goes right down our esophagus and then goes into our stomach. However, for the cow, it goes into the rumen, it stays there, and it's partially digested, right? It's partially digested there, right? This partially digested food is called the cud, right? It's called the cud. When we read in Leviticus 11, it says, "Whosoever or whatever part choose the cud among the beasts." Right? This is the cud right here. When the grass or the food that goes into the rumen and then goes out, right? It goes out here as you follow the arrows, and it goes into the reticulum, right? The reticulum. Now into the reticulum, it breaks it down even further, and it goes back, right? It goes back up down the throat, right? Now following these red arrows, it goes back into the throat and into the mouth for further chewing. That's why when you see cows, they're always chewing all the time, always chewing something. Why? Because they're eating the grass, but they're also chewing the cud. That's why when the scriptures say you need an animal that chews the cud, because the cow, when it eats, right, it goes into the stomach and it goes back up so they can chew it again, right? So then after they have chewed it again, it goes back down their throat, right? Now into following the blue arrows, now into the omasum, right? Now into the omasum. Now into the omasum, now the grass or the food is very, very small. The grass is now very, very small, but yet it still goes, and now following the black arrows, now it goes into the obomasum. That is the final compartment of the stomach, and then it goes into the intestinal tract and then out, right? So that's how it works for the cow, right? That's how it works for a lot of ruminating animals or mammals, right? That's how it works. They have 4 stomachs and they chew the cud, and this is them properly digesting their food, all right? Because remember, we don't do all that stuff. We so-called humans, we don't do all that stuff, all right? We only eat the food and boom, down our stomach, then boom, right into our intestinal tract and stuff like that, right? And we don't, we pull it out, right? It goes down the drought, as Yahushua said, right? So that's the ruminating animal. Now, when we go to let's go back to this list. All right. So right here it says, all right, that some ruminating animals are what? Cattle, sheep, goats, buffalo, deer, elk, and giraffes. They all do this, right? They all do this kind of stuff, right? They all properly digest their food, all right? They all do that, all right? I believe this is a elk, all right? As you can see, they have the reticulum, the obomasum, and the small intestine, right? Or Salakia. Where's the reticulum, omasum, and the rumen, right? And obomasum, the 4 stomachs. The 4 stomachs that traditional chewing the cud animals will have. Okay, so if you see an elk, if you see a cow, you can eat cows. because remember some cultures, right? Religions that deem uh cow as sacred, right? Because some religions, like Hinduism, right? Let's read this. Cattle are considered sacred in world religions such as Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, and others. Cattle played other major roles in many religions, including those in ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Israel, ancient Rome, and ancient Germany. Right, but we didn't worship these. We didn't worship cattle. Well, when you read Exodus, we did. The wicked of us, we actually did worship a calf, right? But that's the Most High didn't never commanded us to do that, right? Of course, the wicked of our people did worship cattle, right? Like the golden calf, and etc. But the Most High, that was never part of our culture, right? That was never part of our culture. We're never supposed to be doing that, right? So right, because when you read Exodus chapter 32 and verse 18, right? I'm gonna start at verse 15, right? And Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the two tables of the testimony were in his hand. The tables were written on both their sides, and on one side and on the other were they written, right? I'm gonna stop sharing my screen though, right? And the tables were the work of the Most High, and the writing was the writing of God graven upon the tables. And when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp. So when Joshua and Moses were coming down from the mount, Joshua thought that the shouting of the Israelites down at the mountain was the shouting of war, right? Let's keep reading, verse 18. And he said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, right? And Moses said, hey, that's not the shout of them, that's not the shout of war. That's not the cry of war, right? But what is it? Neither is the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. The noise of them that sing. Moses said, look, I hear music, man, right? I hear people singing. Right, verse 19, and it came to pass as soon as he came nigh unto the camp that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot, and he cast the tables out of his hands and brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they had made and burned it in the fire and ground it into the powder and strawed it up upon the water and made the children of Israel drink of it. See that? So our people were actually worshiping calves, right? Calf is a baby cow, but we're not supposed to be doing that. All right, that's idolatry. But let's pull this back up. All right, let's pull this back up. So as you should see on your screen, it says in Hinduism and Jainism, I'm not sure what that is, but Buddhism, right, and other religions, they deem the cow as sacred, right? In Hinduism, I believe you can't eat the cow, right? Why is the cow sacred? Millions of Hindus revere and worship cows. Hinduism is a religion that raises the status of mother to the level of goddess. Therefore, the cow is considered a sacred animal as it provides us life-sustaining milk. So because the cow provides milk for humans, so-called humans, now you're not allowed to eat the cow, and the cow is sacred. You're allowed to eat cow. According to the scriptures, you're allowed to eat cow, man, right? Come out of that Hinduism, that Jainism, that Buddhism, right? And stop worshiping cattle, man, right? They're put on the earth for man, right? They were created for the Most High's pleasure, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. And Elohim said, this is the creation, right? Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God, or the Most High, He created man in His image. That's why we have, that's why you have two eyes. That's why you have two arms. That's why you have legs. That's why we especially the Israelites though, especially the sons of the Most High, right? They look predominantly them. They look like the Most High in His likeness and his him in Slakia and in His image, meaning that what you're like the Most High in His righteousness, right? Verse 27, right? So Slakia, but the Most High, He made man to have dominion over cattle, right? So why would you worship something that is lesser than you, right? That is below you. That doesn't make any sense to worship something that doesn't have power over you, right? That's the idea of a God. God means power. So the reason why we worship the Most High, because He has all power, all potency, right? So He's worthy to be praised. He's worthy to be worshipped, right? Let's go to the book of Revelation, right? Even Yahweh Shah, He's worthy to be reverenced, all right, and worshipped to a certain level, all right? Revelation chapter 4 and verse 10, the 4 and 20 elders fall down before Him that sat on the throne and worship Him that liveth forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power. For Thou hast created all things, and for Thy pleasure they are and were created. All right? Exactly. So the Most High, He's worthy to be praised. All right? But yeah, so you can eat cows. All right, that's fine. You can eat cows. You can eat beef. But the thing is, some people, they don't like to eat beef for various reasons, health reasons. Maybe you just don't want to, right? Maybe you just don't want to eat meat. That's fine, right? But you can't tell a brother you can't eat beef, because according to the laws, you can't eat cows. All right? You can't tell a brother, hey, brother, why you're going off? Why you eating cows? Right? Why you eating that why you eating why you eating that hamburger, right? Brother, if if it's beef, if it's not pork, you can eat it, right? You can eat it. All right, Salaki, give me a second. All right, Salaki. All right, Salaki. All right, Salaki. So where were we? All right, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. All right. Yeah, so you can't tell a brother that, look, brother, all right, you can't eat beef because this and that, because they might be doing this to it, they might be sacrificing to an idol, right? They might be defiling it. If that's the case, look, that's according to prophecy. The Most High already said that was going to happen. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, right? Ezekiel chapter 4 and verse 13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. So the Lord told us that we're going to be eating defiled bread among the Gentiles. We're among the Gentiles right now, right? The Gentiles in this context is going into what? The other nations, right? Remember, Gentile just means nation, right? Let's go to the book of Tobit. We're among the heathen right now. It's the book of Tobit, chapter 13 and verse 3. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he hath scattered us among them. So the Most High scattered us among the heathen. And we're going to be eating the defiled bread among the heathen, man. Right? As long as it says beef, as long as it says beef on the package, right? You feel it. It doesn't feel funny. You know the texture of beef. Look, pray over it and hope and have faith that it's clean, right? Because you can't tell brothers that you can't eat meat, you can't eat beef, right? You can't eat chicken because these things are lawful, right? You can't eat, don't tell a brother you can't eat deer because that's in the law. You can eat deer, right? They're ruminating animals. They're part of the hoof. They're clean according to the Most High. Now, if you don't want to eat it, that's up to you, right? That's perfectly fine, right? Because we know that according to, let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 23. All things are lawful for me, meaning, not all things, of course, right? But, eating beef, chicken, right? If you want to eat some elk, I don't know, buffalo, clean animals, that's lawful for you, right? All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. It's not expedient, you know? Some things are just not expedient. Like, for example, for brother, has some problems, some health problems, and the doctor tells him to cut off on the meat, or stuff like that, whatever. Maybe eating meat, brother, is not expedient for you because it's causing you some health problems, stuff like that, right? But it's still lawful, right? Still lawful. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. All right. Let's go to the book of Second Timothy, because you already have men in the ancient world that said this, right? Or Slaki, I want First Timothy. 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 1. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. So some people are going to depart from the faith, and they're going to give heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, right? Verse 3, forbidding to marry. So some say that you can't marry, right? You can marry, right? Forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats, right? Commanding people to, look, got to be a vegetarian. If you're not a vegetarian, you're not in the truth, right? If you're not a vegetarian, Yahweh Shah is not coming to save you. And the Lord's not dealing with that, because we still have to eat meat, nevertheless, during the Passover, right? You have to eat of that lamb. It says, in commanding to abstain from meats, which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth, right? So come. All right. So this was an in-depth breakdown of how cows are cleaned. All right, of how cows are clean. They are ruminating animals. You can watch videos on it too. I watched videos on it. All right. Remember, they have 4 stomachs, the reticulum, right? The reticulum, Salaki, the rumen, the reticulum, the omasum, and the obomasum. All right, those are the 4 compartments of their stomach. All right. So with that, it's not too much, not too deep. With that, I'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Shema Mashak Yahushua. Lord willing, this was edifying. For the Yasha Allah, Shalom.